Once you've done the qualitative research and you prepared the questions with respect to identifying pain points, the value proposition, benefits, these types of things, what you want to do is actually go and send it to people that represent the ideal buyers for your product. And one way you would do that is by going to a company like Sentiment. And what Sentiment will do is they'll send the survey to a panel of people that represent the criteria that you specify. So for example, here they say New York City homeowners. It could be B2B purchasers in general, or you can get very, very specific and start saying like fitness managers, marketing directors in software companies, chief technology officers, IT professionals generally. And typically the cost, in my experience, is somewhere between $500 and $1,000. And you'll get a number of responses that are very useful for B2B rather than just sort of surveying general people who happen to have free time to fill out your survey. The cool thing about Sentiment is that it's not just a panel supplier. They don't just find you people to fill out your survey, but it's actually a builder. So rather than building your survey on something very basic like Google Docs, for example, you can build it on something more sophisticated. And there are a few things that make it more sophisticated. So the first thing I want to call out before I mention these is the randomization. So you have the ability to randomize the question. So for example, if you asked a question, which is the best, and you have like A, B, C, D, E, there's bias in the question because a lot of people are going to go with A because it shows up first. What you can do is you can check off randomization and sentiment so that the answers will show up like something like this each time, and then you'll have more reliable results from your survey. Now, the other things that you're going to want to do with sentiment is you're going to want to have an attention checker. So this is a question that just makes sure people are paying attention to the survey. So for example, what you might say is, to make sure you are paying attention, select A. And then you might have A, B, C, D, E, F. And if people do not select A, then you can delete all the data from those people because they've been marked as disqualified. Another thing that you can do is you can have a hidden question. So for example, do you use brand A? And perhaps brand A is software or some sort of business-to-business product. Maybe it's a special oil, lubricant, ball bearings, new machinery that has not been released to market. And if they say that they do use brand A, you can basically say, okay, that is not a valid respondent. The respondent's not giving you useful information. They're basically lying or not paying adequate attention. So you can throw that information out from those respondents. There's all sorts of cool features that are available in sophisticated survey builders. SurveyMonkey, as well as Qualtrics, are going to give you some elaborate systems as well, but Sentiment kind of combines the collection with the system itself. Now, if we take a look at what some of the data that comes back looks like, what I've done here is I'm looking at the results that went out to, we got about between 50 and 100 responses for this business-to-business product, and I filtered by people that represented a subsegment. So, for example, there are people in the fitness business versus the healthcare business, and I just filtered down to people in this subsegment, and then I'm able to analyze the data like that. Now, that's very cool that you can do that, because with Google Docs, it might be a little more complex to filter that easily. You're going to have to kind of manually analyze the data in a spreadsheet like this. But with Sentiment, you can just check it off. Now, just as an example of a question that you would have in the survey, here I'm asking them to rank the order of these problems. So these are like kind of high-level pain points. And all that the respondent does is they just drag and drop. So they'll pull the most painful thing to the top and then the least painful thing to the bottom. And then what I can do is I can sort based on the ranking. So I can see here that the most common response for the top ranking was tedious and repetitive, but it looks like there's actually a tie here with tiring and overwhelming. And the one that is the least painful is slow. So speed is not really the biggest problem. It's more just doing the same things over and over that are tedious, repetitive tasks. And that's why automation is an important benefit for this particular situation with these target customers. So when you gather quantitative data like this, you're able to do evidence-based copywriting for things like your website, your email, etc. You're able to develop a proper product marketing strategy where you're positioning your product around things that really matter to the target market at large. And the other thing that I want to point out is that surveys are probably a default way to approach quantitative marketing, but it's not the only one. There are other ways to test things like positioning, and some of those are behavioral. So what you will do, and I'll demonstrate some examples, is launch an ad of variant A and another ad on variant B. And for example, ad A might focus on tedious and repetitive as a problem, and ad B might talk about having not enough time. And you can empirically see which one are people most receptive to and which ones lead to the most meaningful sales conversations. So that would be another quantitative way of testing positioning.